All right, guys, these problems can be found at the top of page 5 of your summer review notes packet. We are going to add, subtract, and multiply radical expressions. So we're going to do some radical expression operations. All right, so here's the rules. When you're adding radical expressions, you can only add like terms. And what I mean by that is you want to look under the radical. So this guy has a 5 under its radical, and you want to find something else that has a 5 under its radical. So these are considered like terms. These are the only things that we can combine. All right? We can only combine like terms. So now I'm going to look for something that has a 7 under its radical. And I see that this guy over here has a 7 under his radical. And now we're going to add the two. So when we're combining like terms, the part that they have alike is always going to stay the same. The part that's different is the numbers on the outside. Now technically, even though there's not a number in front of this radical, the number 1 is there. So on the outside, we should be doing 1 minus 4, which is negative 3. All right, now I'm going to do the square root 7s. So the part that they have alike is going to stay the same. And I combine the outside parts of the radical. 3 minus 5, that's negative 2. So that's our answer. All right, for the second one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to combine like terms. So I see a 3 under this radical, and I see that this guy also has a 3 under his radical. These are considered like terms. Let's combine them. The part that they have alike will stay the same, and the part that is going to change is the outside parts. 3 plus 4 is 7. And then this square root of 2, there's no other term to combine this with, so we just write minus square root of 2. And that's it. Now we're going to move on to number 3. So for number 3, when we are multiplying radical expressions, we want to multiply like this, all right? So 2 times square root of 5 is going to be 2 square root 5, and that's it. Nothing special or fancy, you just write it the way it is. All right, now I'm going to distribute this 2 so that I can multiply 2 times negative square root of 3. And that would just be negative 2 times square root of 3. And that would just be negative 2 times the square root of 3. Now we're going to multiply over here, distributing this guy. This is going to be 3 times the square root of 3 and negative 3 square root 5. And from here, now we can combine like terms. So I see some things that have square root of 5 under them here and here. And then I also see some things that have square root of 3 under them here and here. So I'm going to combine those guys, combining like terms. All right, when we combine the square root of 5s, we're left with 2 minus 3, so negative square root 5 or negative 1 square root 5. And when we combine the square root of 3s, we're left with negative 2 plus 3, so that will give us a negative square root 3. And there's that answer. Now, the only other thing you need to know about operations with radical expressions is multiplying when there's a number on the outside, all right? So this is different than the ones before where we just wrote it the way it looked. With these, anytime you're multiplying a radical expression by something else, you want to first multiply the numbers on the outsides. So 5 times 3 gives us 15. And then you want to multiply the numbers under the radical. And we only have a 6 under the radical. So now I'm going to do 5 times 2 square root 7. I'm multiplying the numbers on the outside. 5 times 2 is 10. And square root of 7 is the only thing under the radical. All right. So now we got to multiply all this stuff by the square root of 7 minus 2 times the square root of 6. All right, we're going to have to FOIL this stuff. So first I'm going to multiply everything in this set of parentheses by this guy here. And I'm doing this just so I can organize my work and organize my thoughts. All right, so first we've got 15 root 6 times the square root of 7. That's going to give us 15 times the square root of 42. All right, next we're going to do 10 square root 7 times square root of 7. That's going to give us 10 square root of 49, which is just the number 7. All right, so now I'm going to multiply everything in this first set of parentheses by 2 square root 6. Negative 2 square root 6 times 15 square root 6 is going to give us negative 30 square root of 36, which is just 6. And now I'm going to multiply the last part. Negative 2 square root 6 times 10 square root 7 is going to give us negative 20 square root of 42. So now I'm going to simplify some things because I see 10 times 7 and 30 times 6 going on. And lastly, let's combine like terms. So these guys with the square root 42s are like terms. And then our constants, 70 and negative 180, those are like terms as well. Let's do the square root of 42s first. So remember, when you combine like terms with radicals, the part that they have alike is going to stay the same, and we're only going to change what's on the outside. 15 minus 20 is negative 5, so that's what goes on the outside of square root of 42. And then 70 minus 180 is negative 110, and that's our final answer. So now I want you to pause the video and work on the remaining questions 5 through 8 at the top of page 5 of your summer review notes packet. When you're done, click play to check your answers.